So we go back to the title screen. You can see it's operational. I have a bare TI here. There's no cartridge or any attachments except for the SDD. So let's go to basic. The main feature is the storage, so the disk. So let's start by looking what we have here. So there you can see, so you see the device name is SDD, and you see the contents. There are some files and some directories. The SDD conf is a little bit special. That's the configuration file. So think config sys in DOS times. And then we have a README, which is disr80, and a test util, which is disfix80. And the ones with the dot, those are directories. To the right, you can see the date. Since I have not that many characters for the date, I use an abbreviation. If the date is today, I show the time. If it's this year, I show the date. And if it's previous year, I just show the date, just show the year. So this is all September and one is August. So let's look at, say, the demo. So inside the demo folder, we have again 2 folders and a hello program. So I could just load this hello, and this is just a toy program. Let you see. But so I just typed SDD demo. Sorry, just let's bring that back. So there's another folder procs. So I can either type SDD demo procs. But that's actually quite a lot to type. So any path that starts with SDD is an absolute path because you always start at the beginning. But we also have relative paths. So there's a DVD that's from Unix. It says print working directory. That's the current path. So we can get it. And since this is basic, it won't print it, but it puts it in a variable. So we are at the root folder currently. So we can change to, say, SDD demo procs. Now if you say print again. So we change now to this subfolder, and now if I say call cat, we can see the contents of that directory.
Can you also change relatively? This was
yes, that's my next point. So for that I need to go back, let's say to demo. Or actually, let's just say here. So, no, sorry, I have to go back. Go to the root again. So now I'm at the top again. Now, if I want to change into the demo again, so before I used an absolute path that starts with the SDD, but I can also use relative paths that are relative to the current directory, and those just start with the dot. So in this case, I would say change into demo, and then I'm also in the demo directory. So either you start with SDD from the beginning, or use relative support that start with a dot. So I also use the cat with and without parameters. So if we look at procs, we can see we have some random procs here. I could say copy a program, for example, this amazing. I'm not sure if you remember, there was a folder favorites or FAS in parallel to this procs here. So I have actually, sorry, let's go one back. To go back, you just use 2 dots like you would in DOS. So here we are at. No, sorry, I want to go. Demo. So here we go. So here we have procs. First, I want to create a new folder, make directory, that I want to call favorites. Yeah, okay, for some reason it doesn't work. I don't know.
Maybe the current path is not in.
Try absolute. Maybe I should reverse. I should have reversed that. Let's try absolute. No, okay, so it doesn't like it. Anyway, so that's the command to create a new directory. And since we don't have a new directory, let's just copy. So we had in procs, we had a program Mason. So let's just copy this to the root directory. And now if we say, now you can see the program Mason here at the top. Yeah, I don't know. It basically should say program, but something didn't quite work anyway. But what you have is, so you have a copy program, you have a move program, which you can also use to rename stuff. You have a delete and you have a protect. So you can use basic to do all kinds of file operations. But still you might think, oh, this is a little bit tedious if you always use call this and that in TI basic. So for that case, there's SDM, which is the disk manager, which belongs to SDD. It's built into the DSR, so you can just call it also as a program. So again, so we are in demo, so you see the demo directory. I can go up one, so now we're at the top again, and then you just say, for example, if I want to go to games, I just select it. And again, I could do all these. Actually, let's try if I can create a new file here. No, it doesn't work for some reason. Again, I can do all these operations I could for basic, like copying and moving stuff. But in this format, moving and copying is a bit difficult. So for that, I just open a second pane, which you can see here on the right. And then I can go back and forth between these panes. And for example, if I want to copy the games to, say, demo, and then I go back here and go say to cards. Here I have DigDuck, so if I want to copy DigDuck, crap, it also doesn't work. Maybe I could go. This is a bad demo, but basically you could copy and move the ones between these two directories. And you can also change a directory directly, so just edit it, and this also doesn't work. But yeah, that's one way.
And storage is an SD card as well, because
The storage is on an SD card.
Size, capacity, mass.
I come to that later. Let me just conclude this half-working demo here. So this is the settings. Here you can configure the SDD any way you want. For example, you can change the crew address. You can also activate, like here, a second crew address at 1000E100, even though I selected it. This is for backwards compatibility to the subs or super amps. You can set the clock, which you ever have to do when you disconnect the battery here. You can, well, this is not important here. Then Wi-Fi, you configure certain, if you want to connect to your home network, you set the SSID, like for example, it could be like hotel, Corinth or whatever it was, and set the IP and so on. Then something I didn't mention, so let's just go back here into basic. I hope this works. If you remember, there was, or let's just show it. I think I need to restart. So there was this folder demo, or let's go to games. So there's games and say basic. Now, if you work a lot with that folder, always typing this, or even changing the card directory to games basic could be tedious. So that's why we can create shortcuts in a way. So in addition to SDD, we have like SDD 1 to 9, or 2 in this case. And I can create a shortcut to say games basic. I hope that works. And now if I say call a cat on SDD2, I get the contents of games basic. And I can also do that with, say, disk 1, since I don't have a PEB connected here, and say, what's the amount is on games basic again. And then you can say, what did we have here? Let's say tank, hold disk 1, tank, and notice. This will take surprisingly long because you don't hear the disk sound here. But what happens is it moves the data into the BDP RAM. That's why it takes so long. But the point about this 1, 2, 3 and so on is that you can create a shortcut for these devices, and then you can use old legacy programs, that support this 1 and so on, to use with the SDD. So basically you define a folder as a disk image for all programs.
How many disk devices you can mount? 3.
Yeah. And of course you can change this anytime. Okay, so I loaded tank, but I don't need to start it. So let's just view this. So the last thing I want to show you is so we have games assembly. Actually, let me see there. So you see a lot of programs here. Some you can recognize as EA5 format. You can load them from TI Basic. For example, let's take here the servers down there. Servers. So this is an AI5 program, so you give the type here 5. Actually, you could auto detect it but in this version you have to provide it. So let's load it. And then you have the server's program, you probably know. And you also notice this. It's a bit annoying. You also notice this was much faster than compared to BASIC. And the reason is, so it basically loads it off the SD card on the extension and right into the SD-RAM chip also. So this doesn't have to go through the TI, but remains on the extension. So this is very fast compared to the TI handling the data.
Would it be similar fast with extended basic, or? Would it be similar fast with loading it in extended basic memory? Because also then it's, if there is 32K.
It's still faster. Because the TI isn't involved at all.
Okay.
For extended basic, still the TI manages the data. So in this case, it's like direct memory access in a way. Are we still in? Yes. So the Xload can also load other formats. For example, the no up there. You can tell it looks like EA5, but it's actually a cartridge image. So I can also load that. So 6 stands for cartridge because cartridge start at a memory address 6000. Yeah, I can load that. This only works because there's no cartridge inserted here. If I were, then this would clash, but if you don't have a cartridge, you can load cartridges here. And they don't have to be simple, you can have paged images as well. So I could have loaded. And since you also have the RAM expansion, so I could have loaded Photo Rasmus's games here. And finally, again, no, sorry, I have to go somewhere else. So I go back one and go into Python. Most of you probably saw this before. You can see this program. It looks like EA5, but it's a special format they created. And you can also see the sizes. The first one's pretty small, but the second one is 32 megabytes in size. So let's load that one. This is format 1. 1 stands for RAMs. I'll explain to you in a minute what that is. Oh, of course.
No name of it.
Yeah. The error messages can be improved. Internally, I have all kinds of error message, but the only thing BASIC will say is incorrect statement for everything. So I have to tune that a little bit. Okay. This will take 15 seconds to load 32 megabytes. I still hope to improve that by a factor of 4 to 8, maybe. So here we have a small video. The beginning is a little bit dark, but maybe you can already recognize the sound. I just talk louder. So the video here was created by my friend for me, so many thanks to him for creating this. It's just a video converted to TI format. So I loaded this video with the player into the RAM of the SDD. So it's entirely in RAM, all of the 32 megabytes, and it plays from RAM. So there's a regular TI player, which just loads stuff and executes from there. So there's no special extension, that's basic TI capability here.
Is it possible, Ralph, to get a better resolution?
No, that's maximum the
Not
TI
possible
can
at all.
handle.
I mean, could he not plug anything else into the side to give it a...
Sure, so for example, the F18A, the
that would
graphic chip
give it
replacement
better.
probably could better.
But
But
nothing better than that? No. No.
Certainly, the Genève could do better, but I wanted to present something
Yes.
that's, that could run on the
Yeah.
unexpanded TI.
And did you say that board there has got 32K built in?
32M,
32M?
yeah, megabytes,
Megabytes.
not kilobytes.
All right.
Anyway, so so far, so there's the SAMS, which stands for Super AMS, AMS. And I originally wanted to call my Hyper AMS, so AMS. But Terry already designed a Hyper AMS on his website, but he probably never built it. So I decided to call my Ralph AMS, so now it's RAMS. The entire video is 5 minutes for 32 megabytes, so I'll report here, but I have to turn off TI. Yeah, so that concludes the demo. So basically you can emulate, actually let me continue with my short presentation. There are only a few slides. I want to talk about how it works a little bit. Yeah, okay. It'll be on the later slide, but you can basically emulate any kind of hardware that was in the PEB and is inside the TI. So it's very powerful from the architecture. And I just want to talk a little bit about the architecture. Can everyone see? So here you can see a very high-level picture of the TI, an expansion board. So on the one hand side, you have the CPU and you have the bus. So all the peripherals. So in this case, I have, so the left one is like the system itself, the graphic chip, sound chip, and so on. The cartridges, the DSR, so all the cards, disk card, whatever, and then the expansion RAM. So all this is connected to the CPU over the bus, and they're all connected at the same time.